Shedding feathers alongside graves in Vicksburg. About 200 turkey vultures have made Cedar Hill Cemetery their hangout. And neighbors say for years the swarm strangely is growing. Jacob Kittilstad follows the flock this Mystery Monday.
From over the horizon fly the symbols of death.
Very phenomenal to see them in a cemetery. I know that they hang around the dead, but they're supposed to be buried, you know.
And it's seen to be more and more of them. It's clearly more than what it used to be. I'd never known them to bother anything. It might be a little leery if people not used to them to see a great big bird. And it's a little, like I say, it's a little eerie.
With a 6-foot wingspan sprouting tiny naked heads between their shoulders, these turkey vultures, overlooking the Confederate dead from the siege of Vicksburg, have tripled their numbers in the last 10 years. That's according to neighbors of the Cedar Hill Cemetery.
See, they're all gone now.
Father Bobby Flanagan is the go-to volunteer on site.
And then where you see an American flag, that's my mother.
And he says he wishes people would focus on the history in the cemetery as opposed to what soars above it.
I don't pay no attention to them. They're everywhere, so you usually stay up on that hillside there.
But as the sun rises in the sky, the birds come to the ground, perching on gravestones as if acting as ugly angels. Most of the birds came to a rest surrounding this monument belonging to the Reeve family and the surrounding stones. But the question is, why here? Why in a cemetery, and what's attracting them to the area?
Come in and tear these flowers up and eat them. I don't think I know what they're doing. They're destroying good flowers.
Cemetery management does not kill the birds. In fact, some types of vultures are federally protected. Instead, employees have used loud noises to scare them off, but they always return, neighbors say, and in greater numbers.
In the evening time, you still see them when I come in at 3:30, 4 o'clock. They still circle above, like they're getting worse to me.
Exploring the unexplained on Mystery Monday, Jacob Kittilstad, News Channel 12.
Well, have a story idea for Mystery Monday? Send it in to mystery@wjtv.com. Among hundreds of Civil War graves in Vicksburg, there's at least one that will catch your eye. Like many of its neighbors, it has a Confederate battle flag.
But directly below it is the image of a camel. Yes, a camel war hero. Confused? Well, Jacob Kittilstad will help you over the hump this Mystery Monday.
Old Douglas was a faithful, patient camel of the 43rd Mississippi Infantry Volunteers, CSA.
Soldiers didn't ride him into battle. Instead, Douglas the camel carried the extras, pots, pans, and musical instruments, and he carried them into the siege of Vicksburg.
Douglas was a dromedary camel and was given to Colonel W.H. Moore by Lieutenant W.H. Hargrave.
Wayne McMaster is commander of Vicksburg's Sons of Confederate Veterans. He says the idea of camels spread during Western expansion.
Well, for one thing, he can do several days without water, and a mule and a horse is like a man. He's got to have a lot of water. We say he was assassinated because some of the guys from Iowa got to looking at him and decided he needed to be killed.
That death, some historians say, deeply angered and saddened groups of Confederate soldiers. But hold on, everyone knows the stereotypes about the animals. They spit, they're smelly, they're ugly. So why would anyone choose a camel as a mascot?
He's still a big old baby. Good boy.
Meet 2.5-year-old Frank and his owner from Rankin County.
Give him a treat.
Tony Godby.
Hard to work out. Yeah. He is like a 7-foot Great Dane puppy. He comes when you call him and whistle. He wants to play like a puppy. He has no idea that he's 1,200 pounds. He was 46 inches tall when we got him and weighed 53 pounds. We brought him home in a minivan.
As he's grown, the Godbys realized he is a character, and it's hard not to get attached to this fluffy creature.
Come on, Frank.
Built for the harshest conditions.
And taking a look at Frank's size, that begs the question, what is really buried at Cedar Hill Cemetery?
That's just like these guys. These are memorial stones. They are here somewhere. But they talked about, well, the Confederate soldiers ate him, Well, they may have. This was done in June 27th, 1863. They've been in those siege lines for almost 40 days.
After the Civil War, camel popularity declined, but the story of Douglas endures as an oddity, but also an example of how an animal can carry more than just what's on its back.
I think anybody that meets a camel and spends a little time around them will fall for the camel, even in the middle of war.
And as a 43rd vet wrote about him, his service merits record.
Exploring the unexplained on Mystery Monday, Jacob Kittilstad, News Channel 12.
Interesting story.
You can live here for a long time and never know about that.
A lot of
I asked
stories.
Ken South. He's never heard of that camel. Is that not an interesting story?
Very much. Well, Douglas's grave, it's located at Vicksburg Cedar Hill Cemetery if you'd like to check him out.
I'd like to go check that out.
Here we
I know
go.
a lot of people like to go check that one out. Well, and if you have an idea for a story that would fit Mystery Monday, email us at mystery@wjtv.com. And thank you, Jacob.
Well, make me a knife like Bowie's. That's the phrase that swept the country after the infamous fight on the Vidalia sandbar right next to the Natchez. But the reputation of the blade actually preceded its image in many parts of the country, meaning even today there's still discussion on what is a Bowie knife. Jacob Kittilstad cuts through the stories this Mystery Monday.
I believe this is about a 10-inch blade here.
Pattern laminated Damascus steel, forged using heat, hammer, and anvil. It's the creation, Mastersmith Terry Vandeventer says, of a Bowie knife.
The designs are limited only by your imagination. The very essence of the knife was that in the 1820s and 1830s, flintlock pistols were not reliable. The original Bowie knife probably didn't look anything like the Bowie knives we depict today, or from the movie The Iron Mistress with Alan Ladd.
For better or worse, that knife of yours has a bit of heaven in it, or a bit of hell.
At the box office, Americans often went for the hero with the blade.
He says he uses it for hunting.
What do you hunt? Elephants?
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
But long before, starting in the late 1820s, so-called gentlemen of the South clamored for what they imagined Jim Bowie used to kill Norris Wright in a melee on the Vidalia sandbar.
Bowie was shot twice, once through the lung. He was stabbed 7 times with Wright's sword cane, at which point he was able to get a hold of Wright and stab him with his Bowie knife.
The knife became as iconic as it was confused, bladesmiths say. That first Bowie was probably a glorified butcher knife, sharpened only on one side and even rough by today's standards. That first knife may have even been an old file. In 2014, however, they're more artistic than tactical, but often blade lengths could be compared to anything from short daggers to jungle machetes.
And with so many different styles of knife, each beautiful in their own way, that just makes this question even more difficult. What exactly is a Bowie knife?
As firearms became better, Bowie knives shrunk. They come in all different sizes and shapes, but a large knife, very often with a sharpened upper edge. The description in the dictionary is actually very similar to what I just gave.
Jim Bowie would go on to fight and die at the Alamo.
Did he carry his knife to the Alamo? Probably did.
And it's that blade that lives on.
Right there, bounces exactly where it's supposed to balance.
With a history as layered as the steel it's made from.
A knife like this takes 40 to 60 actual hands-on hours. It's very time intensive, but the phrase was, make me a knife like Bowie's.
Exploring the unexplained on Mystery Monday, Jacob Kittilstad, News Channel 12.
Good information there. Well, the Mississippi state statute says that knives are okay to carry. However, it is illegal to conceal specifically a Bowie knife. The maximum blade length, however, is not specified.